somebody who is certainly talking about this, I know thinking about it, has known Nancy Pelosi for a very long time, is our guest here, Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, Democrat, of course, from California. Congresswoman, thank you very much for being on with us. Can you give us a sense of what kind of a gap Nancy Pelosi's departure leaves for the party here? How are you thinking about her legacy and her future?
Well, she is the most effective speaker in American history. I've had Republican members tell me that while they might not always agree with her policies, they sure envied us that we had someone so effective she always knew what the vote count would be. She knew how to bring disparate interests together and to move forward, and always led by her very serious Catholic faith and her devotion to children. She is a giant, really. She's diminutive, but she's a political giant in California and among our delegation. I chair the California Democratic delegation. We all adore her and admire her and have been mentored by her. So yes, we will miss her, but I'm pretty confident that we will not be seeing a complete void. She's someone who is active. I mean, her energy level is unbelievable. She can move mountains when everyone else, people a third her age, are ready to collapse. She's still going. Even though she will be leaving Congress at the end of this Congress, my guess is we've certainly not seen the last of Nancy Pelosi.
Well, so let me ask you more about that, too. And on this departure, as you look at where the party is, I mean, you've described what you see as, a void, not a void, but obviously a loss for the party. Is this a signal to others in the party that now is the time for generational change?
Well, I think she made that signal when she stepped away from leadership. She could easily have been reelected as the minority leader, the Democratic leader, but she made a decision that it was time for her to step aside from leadership and allow the next generation to step forward. And that's what she did in Hakeem Jeffries and Catherine Clark and Pete Aguilar stepped forward, and they are all much younger. And so it's a process where people who are at the upper end of their lifespan are stepping aside, either from positions first of leadership or even from the Congress. And we're well aware of that in California, and we're making active steps to mentor the new people that are coming in. We have 43 Democrats in the delegation. A lot of them are brand new. And so we're working to make sure there's a smooth transition in our delegation, that we're not left with people, a delegation is entirely new and trying to figure it out. And it's going pretty well.
As you talk about the transition, not just in your delegation, but in the party, I think, writ large around the country, do you anticipate, Congresswoman, other Democrats following Nancy Pelosi's lead toward the exit here when you talk about kind of maybe the old guard versus the new, or at least sort of that generational distinction?
There are some who I know will be stepping aside. I mean, people whose age starts with an 8 or a 7, there's a short shelf life left. So it's a matter of, now, or maybe in some cases, people feel, there's a fight going on and the experienced fighters need to stay at least until it's done. But yes, it's transition. It's worth noting that a majority of the members of the House of Representatives have been in Congress less than 5 years. So it's not, it's the conventional wisdom is it's everybody's been there for 40 years. That's really not the case.
Let me ask you this, because you talk about the fight. She talked about it, too, in the video that she put out today. What I know our team has cast as kind of this love letter to her constituents in San Francisco. She also talked about continuing to fight for democratic ideals. We're obviously sitting here, as you well know, in the middle, the end, who knows, of the longest shutdown in American history, right? I mean, the government is closed. You've now got the Trump administration really ratcheting up the pressure, the way we see it on your party, with this air traffic reduction that is set to begin tomorrow here. We're already seeing, as we've talked about, these big airlines canceling flights, et cetera. In your mind, as you're thinking about the negotiations to try to end the government shutdown, Are you thinking about the impact and the pain for travelers? I think back to when I covered the White House back at the 2019 shutdown. That was the pressure point that ultimately broke things loose. Do you feel like that is going to shake things loose in the chamber?
Well, it's worth noting that there's no negotiation going on in the House because the Speaker of the House has shut the House down. We haven't been called into session since September. So I think they ought to go back to work, and then we'll have a discussion about making common
But do you,
ground.
Congresswoman, I'm sorry to interrupt, do you want negotiations to be happening? Do you want them to bring you back to negotiate? Is there something you'd be willing to concede?
We've made it very clear that we want to avoid that outrageous increase in healthcare premiums. It's worth noting, Trump said $40 billion to Argentina to do all the tax credits for Americans would cost $38 billion. So we need to get that done. The Republicans know that we need to get it done. We want to move forward. But the idea that we have to starve people so we can take their health care away is kind of a non-starter.
Well, the judge obviously ordering the full payout of SNAP benefits starting tomorrow, just in the last little bit, the last couple hours. And Congressman, Republicans will say, wait a second, well, they've said we'll negotiate on the health care subsidies when the government's open, in regular order. Why is that not persuasive?
Mike Johnson has never said that. Mike Johnson has never said that.
You want to hear it from Mike Johnson himself?
Well, it takes both chambers to reach a deal. I'll say this, I've been in Congress some time now, and the first shutdown that was lengthy was my freshman year. I was the president of the Democratic freshman class, and I remember calling the president of the Republican freshman class saying, maybe we could solve this as freshmen. And he said, well, no, our plan is that you're just going to cave in. I said, I don't think that's going to work. And what happened was Bill Clinton, he was president, he weighed in and he brought the parties together and we reached agreement and the country went forward. Trump's missing in action. I mean, this is, really a pathetic failure.
Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, we're glad to have you on tonight, of course, talking about not just the news of the day, the politics on the shutdown, but also, of course, your friend who is marking really the end of an era for the chamber, for the party that she's helped shape for so long. Congresswoman Lofgren, thank you for being on the show again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.